Three, two, one, roll the footage. Welcome back to the Strategy Sprints podcast. I'm your host, Severino, and my guest today is the CEO of UpCoach and an experienced entrepreneur who has been building in the SaaS and e-com space for over 20 years. He had multiple exits, including Max CDN. He runs a full portfolio of companies, and his passion is to help individuals and their organizations reach their full potential. Welcome, everybody, David Henzel.
Thank you very much for having me on.
David, so cool to have you here. And we will discuss how to make the right decisions, how to make them out of love, not fear, and how to become the best possible salesperson. Super relevant. I have my notes and I am excited. But first, what are you currently creating?
I'm currently creating UpCoach, as you mentioned. I have this portfolio of businesses, and I want to coach the leadership teams of my businesses, so they're to make sure they're on their personal A game. And I couldn't find the software that was doing what I want to do, and so I started building my own solution. And then I showed it to Todd Herman, a friend of mine who's a very well-known coach, and he said, "This is amazing," because I'm not a coach by trade. I've just been doing this, and he was like blown away by the software, and he said, "I want to invest and let's grow this big together." And this is what I'm creating right now. It's a software that helps coaches to deliver better results, to save them a lot of time, and to run their coaching business. And I'm pretty excited about. It's also very much in line with my personal mission. So having a lot of fun with this.
Beautiful. And your first CEO tip is decisions should come out of love, not fear.
Yeah. Yes. That sounds very hippie, even though I have a meditating frog behind me, so I am pretty hippie, I guess. But there's actually, the love and fear thing has a place in business and in life. I used to be very introverted. I call myself a recovering introvert, and this was like really holding me back in my entrepreneurial journey, or also in general in life. Because selling something, like I always felt like a used car salesman, or like I was even uncomfortable being on conference calls, and this was like problematic. So I thought, okay, I want to get rid of this, and I did Toastmasters, and I went to lots of networking events to just overcome this fear. And at some point, through exposure therapy, I kind of overcame this. But then the real change happened when my yoga teacher said, every decision in life you either make out of love or out of fear. And this was something I always knew deep down inside, but I could not articulate it. And once you said this, I realized this. And for example, in sales, if I want to sell you something, and I sell you this product here because I think it's a really good product and it's going to make your life or business better and easier, then I can even be a pushy salesman because I'm doing it for you, and I'm doing it out of love because I want to make you succeed. Versus if I'm doing it out of fear, I just have to hit my numbers, I have to pay my mortgage, etc. And if this is the driver for my decisions, then everything becomes super hard. Same with speaking on stage, being on a podcast. Before I would have always thought like, oh, do they think I have a weird German accent? Do they think I look weird? Do they think what I'm saying is stupid, etc.? And then I freeze and I can't really give a presentation. But if I act out of love and I know what I have to say can potentially help you in your life and your business, then I can just roll and present.
I was just thinking about decisions that I took today with my kids at breakfast, making ready for school, etc., and going through the decisions. Did I make them out of love or fear that they could be too late, that I could be too late, or was it love? That's strong. Do you have some examples of recent decisions?
Yeah, I can give you a lot of like from family. You just talked about family. My wife always asked me to do like home improvement stuff, like, hey, I bought this thing, could you put it together, or could you hang out this picture? And I always did these things out of fear, because I only did it because I didn't want to have a fight with her, because I say like, no, I don't want to do this. And I only did them out of fear. So, and now that I'm aware of this love and fear thing, I still start out of fear because I still don't like it. But when I do it out of love because I want to make our house nicer and I want to, make my wife happy. And then all of a sudden this work that you used to hate actually flows, and the result is much better when you do something with love. When you cook or when you like any type of job, if you do it with love, it will be the result will be much better. Because if it did out of fear and just then the result was kind of shitty. And then my wife we had a fight with her afterwards because the work was not up to her spec and not made her happy. Or I can give you a lot more examples. For example, my assistant at Max CDN, my previous business, we grew really fast, and we had a communication problem in the business. It's like we hired a lot of people, and a lot of stuff was going on, and we thought, okay, an internal newsletter may be a good solution. So I told her, okay, please go to each department head, get the updates for the week. We compile this newsletter, send it out on Monday, and everything will be good. And every time she came to me, she gave me this newsletter, and I had to correct a million things. It was never good. So I sat her down and said, like, hey, listen, you're doing this task out of love and not fear. And she said, what the heck do you mean? And I said, okay, if you would do this out of love, you'd do your best to really understand what each department has to say. Even you'd do your best to understand what a CTO has to say. She was not super technical. And you'd compile this in a newsletter that everybody gets super amazing benefit out of, great information, and even has fun reading it, right? Then you would do it out of love, but you're doing it out of fear. The only reason why you're doing this, David said, this has to go out at 4 p.m. on Monday. This is your motivation. And this also really clicked with her. I never had to correct anything, and they got better and better and better. And at the end, we even had a video newsletter where she kind of video interviewed everybody, turned out to be something really, really amazing, actually. And so, yeah, also with your teams, it's important that they have the drive to do out of love, and also out of service and helping people, because money is a side effect of providing value. And if you just if you're very customer centric and you just want to help people, then just your business will be much better off, and it's going to be more fun too.
How do you create the culture in a team that love becomes the main driver?
One thing is you have the core value. One of our core values is love, not fear. And we really hammer these core values into people's head, and we do this by when we do a job description, we take a little video that describes the job, and at the end, once somebody applies, then we also send them a video of our core values, so they kind of hear this first there. Then when they sign up for the job, the last page is of the contract are our core values. They have the initial next to each core value, and say if I'm not living up to these core values, I know that this can be a reason for termination, or you will be terminated if you don't live up to them. And then we explain every decisions to them, ideally with core values or as a mission and a vision as a filter. Every month we do one onboarding call with everybody, all the people that joined the company this month, and we tell them stories about each core value. It's not only the core values, but mission, vision, and our 3 uniques and other stuff. But we tell them stories on how people in the business showed up, showing these core values in the organization, so they can kind of understand this. And then if we have to make any decisions, we also use them as a filter and a way to explain why we do certain things. And this has been working pretty well for us.
Powerful. Yeah. The strategy award question: who do you pick when everybody is zigging? This person is zagging.
Could you explain this?
The strategy award question: when everybody is zigging, this person is zagging. Who is the person you pick for the strategy award?
I like what Stefan Spencer, who's also in JVMM. I had him on the podcast lately. He is real the rock star when it comes to SEO. He wrote the book on SEO, The Art of SEO, probably the biggest book that have you ever seen this book?
Yeah, I know Stefan. Yeah, he's great.
It's like his Art of SEO book. I read this maybe 15 years ago. So it's the first one. It's this thick. And I met him a few years ago, and we became good friends. I had him on the podcast a few weeks ago, and he also said he only focuses on clients now that have impact. I think that's a very cool mindset of having a business that actually has a positive impact. So he's very choosy with the clients that he takes on, and even take somebody who's smaller but has a makes a positive impact in the world. So I think this is like somebody I'd like to nominate for. It's a really good strategy to live by. And some people may think like, oh, that's not a really good business strategy. But if you have read the book called Conscious Capitalism by John Mackey, he talks about that the old way of doing business is we have to increase shareholders' value. That's the only thing that matters. That's like why business exists. But the conscious way of doing business is we have to do good by all the stakeholders, basically by employees, by suppliers, by the shareholders, by the environment, by kind of being a net positive in the world. And he makes the point that these businesses are actually making more money than the ones who are just like focusing on increasing shareholders' value. So that's why I want to give the award to Stefan, because he's awesome and he's living this with his business.
Your second CEO tip is how to become the best possible salesperson. Can you unpack that?
Yeah, we already talked about the love and fear thing going back to this. And if you really want to provide value to people and you really want to help them overcome what kind of pain points they have, and really studying the pain points that they have and providing real solutions for this, I think this is, will give you superpowers in terms of closing, because people feel that you have this real connection. So you do this because you want to improve their life, and you're not just doing this to, make your pockets fatter. And this has been working phenomenally well for me.
The 3 books that shaped you most.
Number 1 in business is Traction, which is by Gino Wickman. It's the EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System, which helps to figure out your mission, vision, core values, 90-day plans, if you have the right people in the right seats, and many other things. And it's just phenomenal if you kind of stick to this battle-tested framework, how easier work got for me. The second one is called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill is most well known for Think and Grow Rich. I think probably a lot of you have read this book, but Outwitting the Devil was not released until maybe 10 years ago or something like this, because he was scared to release it, because it's very critical towards the society, church, school system, etc. So he thought he would get in major trouble or even killed if he released it. And talks about, he interviews the devil in this book, asking the devil, what does the devil do to make us not reach our goals, and what kind of tools the devil has. And the biggest tool the devil has is fear. And it had very profound impact on me. And the last one is The 4 Agreements, which is a book that talks about the agreements that you make with yourself, and that you kind of remove limiting beliefs. And I can also highly recommend. It's also had a really profound impact on my life.
Wow. And how are your portfolio companies doing, and what's keeping you up at night on that front?
I sleep really well, actually. I don't sleep a lot. I only sleep like 4 or 5 hours, but I sleep really well. So it's like nothing really that keeps me up. It's just like all the normal things, like finding new good talent, and like hiring is probably like the biggest challenge or task or stuff that takes the most of my time. Is like hiring really good, high caliber people, because companies are made up of people, and if you find like people who are have been there and done that, and you only hire people who have like had were in this position at a larger business and kind of like take yours then to this point and beyond, and that's probably like the thing that keeps me busy and keeps me up.
And I guess it's easy right now to find talent. At least that's what I would expect.
Depends. If you're looking for like high level developer, like very skilled developers, it's competitive and it's expensive. But yeah, with L2 Plus and we have a very, very good recruiting team for general positions, but like people in the leadership teams from organizations is like always like a challenge to find like somebody who's like a really good fit from a culture perspective and from a skill perspective. So like the really good people are still hard to find.
What did you recently change your mind about?
I did 75 Hard. Are you familiar with 75 Hard? It's a workout program where you work out twice a day for 45 minutes each minimum. and you have one of the workouts has to be outside. You have to drink 4 liters of water, 1 gallon of water per day. You have to take a progress picture, and you have to read 10 pages in the book. And you have to do this every day for 75 days. And if you skip one of these things, then you have to start over. So it's like quite a commitment. And you would think like it's a fitness exercise, but it's actually more of a mental toughness exercise, because kind of like sometimes it's midnight and I haven't done my second workout, and it's dark, cold, and it's raining, and I still have to go for a run. Like doing this commitments is really made me a lot tougher mentally. And so yeah, this was like something that changed my mind quite drastically.
Cool.
I can highly recommend it.
Yeah. Why did you start it in the first place? Well, how was the decision-making process?
A friend of mine knew a bunch of people who've done this, employees, partners, and a friend of mine just like shared how this had impacted him, and I thought, okay, it's a cool challenge, and yeah, so it's kind of got me kicking the butt to do it.
Cool. Looking forwards, where is your business in 3 years?
Which one? There's a bunch. I think that, we have a 10-year target with LTV Plus and Task Drive. We want to get to 10,000 employees. I don't think that we're going to get there in 3 years, like more of the 10-year target, or we're like 2.5 years in, so it's maybe but we're currently at 300 employees or so. We're growing pretty rapidly right now, so I don't know, maybe at 5,000 people would be kind of cool. And with UpCoach, I want to have a massive impact and attract a lot of coaches to, because when coaches will have, if they're more efficient in running their business, they can have a bigger impact on more people. So, can't really give you any specific numbers because haven't really set them yet, but just really massively scaling UpCoach is like my main priority right now.
Where can people find more about all your endeavors?
You can go to my website, davidhenzel.com. I just actually bought henzel.com, the domain. Super stoked about this. So once this is released, probably on henzel.com, and there you see a list of my portfolio companies. You can always email me at dh@davidhenzel.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn or Facebook. If you just connect with me, I may not accept it, but if you say, okay, I was on Strategy Sprint podcast, then I'll definitely, if you have some context, I'd love to chat with you. So yeah, please reach out.
Who should be my next guest?
Did you have Stefan on? He's really amazing.
Stefan Spencer.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I was on his podcast. He was not here yet, so I will be very happy to have him on the show. Cool. Thank you so much, David, for being on the show, sharing your knowledge and about how to make decisions out of love, not fear, and how this makes you a better person, a better leader, and a better salesperson. And please come back soon.
Thank you for having me.
Avoid trying to do thousands of things that doesn't work. We have 274 templates for your business success. Reach your ambitious goals with one-on-one